yesterday, Richmond, Virginia, turns out to be a very peaceful event. There were not riots. There was not any incident. And yet, the media's behavior in this, and this is really important, to call people who are protesting their erosion of rights by the Second Amendment being taken away from them, I've never seen anything like it. Last night, Tucker Carlson at Fox News played a montage. He played a pair of montages, actually, of various news media types calling these patriots yesterday in Richmond, Virginia. And that's what they were. That's what they are. Thousands of people mortified that their Second Amendment right is being taken away. This is not a right this is a right that we have given to us in the Constitution of the United States of America. But Tucker's montages last night should really get everybody's attention. Listen to this, cut number 4 from Fox News and Tucker Carlson tonight.
Instead of congratulating the protesters, the left suggested they were engaged in some form of terrorism. Prospect of gun control in Virginia draws threats, promise of armed protest, read the ominous warning in the Washington Post. Richmond braces for white supremacist militias at gun rally, said Axios. According to a website called Raw Story, quote, authorities fear Richmond gun rally could be the next Charlottesville. Well, on television, the chirpy morning shows, being wholly dependent on left-wing websites to tell them what to think, obediently parroted the party line. Watch this.
State of emergency. Richmond, Virginia on high alert this morning, bracing for violence as thousands descend for a gun rights rally.
Richmond, Virginia is on high alert this morning before a gun rights rally that local authorities fear could turn violent.
Police in Virginia bracing for a massive crowd at a gun rights rally today amid fears it will attract white supremacists and turn violent. This morning, what officials are doing to avoid another Charlottesville.
State of emergency, white supremacists. Keep in mind that the protesters in Richmond were protesting a governor who is admitted to wearing a racist costume. And for their trouble, they were denounced as bigots. NBC News reporter Ben Collins described the demonstration as, quote, a white nationalist rally. He warned other reporters that if they repeated things they heard from local police, otherwise known as reporting, they could play into, quote, neo-Nazi hands. So that's what you get for protesting Governor Blackface. You're a neo-Nazi. Over at MSNBC, meanwhile, it made the whole thing sound like the world's scariest Klan rally.
Right now, thousands of gun rights activists, white nationalists, militia groups, all swarming the Virginia state capitol in Richmond.
This is the last thing we need in an era where we're seeing hate crimes on the increase and where we see, even though it's pro-gun activists that are throwing the rally, these outside militia groups and neo-Nazis coming into it.
And coming up, calling for calm, Virginia residents praying that today's rally at the state capitol is not a repeat of the horrible 2017 Charlottesville disaster, the rally that ended in a young woman's death, as white nationalists and gun rights activists take to the streets today again.
Just neo-Nazis swarming the state capitol in Richmond, just another day in America. They're very concerned about it. Let's be honest. Do you really think NBC feared violence in Richmond? Or is it possible that some in the media looked forward to the prospect of it?
Tucker asks a great question, and I have to agree. Let's just get right down to it. The media types would have loved a narrative that suggested that something happened, that something bad took place. The media would have loved a narrative that would have had some kind of mayhem, some kind of violence, God forbid, some kind of tragedy, just like what took place at Charlottesville. Because then they could have spent the next election cycle lying about Richmond like they lied about Charlottesville. There were massive lies told about Charlottesville, namely that the president defended white nationalists and neo-Nazis. He never did. Trump never defended white nationalists. Ever. Ever. This president never said there were some good white nationalists. He said there were good people on both sides of the debate. But you have to understand something. The reason people heard that and repeated the lie that he thinks there are white nationalists, the media elites think anybody south of the Mason-Dixon line is a white nationalist. If you're a Southerner, if you're a Second Amendment proponent, you're a bigot. You're just a mouth-breathing Neanderthal who likes guns. When the media saw that crowd yesterday of thousands and thousands of patriots, they saw a bunch of bigots. How dare they have their guns? How dare they have their flags? How dare they have their Trump banners? They're a bunch of morons. That's how they view you and me. Keep that in mind, all right? 20 minutes before the hour. Portions of our show brought to you by The SHOT Show, the annual SHOT Show. It's our 7th visit, SHOT Show 2020. In a couple of minutes, we're going to meet with the president of the National Shooting Sports Foundation, talk about this extraordinary event.